Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very different video. Very different. I like to do very themed videos like reading a full book series or finishing series or reading fantasies or reading thrillers and so on and so forth. But today I thought we'd do something a little different. My TBR shelf is here. I will add in a little b-roll, and some of these books I don't know where to place in a reading vlog because I think it can get boring just doing like, oh, reading fantasies for a week or whatever. I thought we'd mix it up a little bit. I did do it with choosing pink books, but I think this one is going to be a little bit more interesting. If you watch any type of book content, you'll know the very interesting phenomenon of TBR jars. So a lot of times people will put prompts into a jar, shake it up, pull prompts and pick a book from their TBR. But because I have so little books, I think I have about 13 or 14 books on my TBR. I've also added some of my Kindle Unlimited books in it. So I've just put all the titles of the books that I have in this jar, and we will choose according to that. I will pick, I don't know if you'll even be able to hear me, but I'm gonna pick one book, read it, and then we'll pick the next, I can't speak, then we'll pick the next book. So I'm not gonna pick all three prompts today. I will pick one, we'll start reading that, see how long it takes us, and then pick another. Let's go ahead and choose the first prompt. Give it a good shake. I'm hoping for a good one. I don't wanna love. They're all the same length as well. Try to make it like that. So let's go ahead. I hope it's not upside down, but I will show you guys first. What does that say? Good Girl, Bad Blood. I actually watched the series, the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and I wanted to read this because I didn't add it in my series tracker because I didn't enjoy the first book, but I really loved the series. It was so much better than the book. It just flowed a lot better and things just happened a lot faster. I went out and got the second book, so that will be our first book for the week. I'm very excited. A lot of girls didn't like Good Girl, Bad Blood, so I think I will love it. If you don't know, there is a Netflix series, and it follows Pip, who is a high school student, and she does like her final year project on a disappearance and murder in her town. And due to this, she obviously incurs a lot of trauma from it because there's people that don't want her to uncover things. There is a lot of secrets, and she just goes through it. She does end up solving the crime. So this is the second book in the series. Very interesting, very exciting. As you know, I love mystery thrillers. This one's a little bit shorter than The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It looks like it's about 412 pages. Should be nice and easy, but I will throw that on the bed. But this is our first book. Very excited for it, and I will let you guys know when I get started on the first book. Good morning, guys. Update. I made it halfway yesterday, which I'm very, very excited about because that was my aim. And I don't want to take too long to read books because I've been reading super slow lately. There isn't much on YouTube at the moment that's drawing my attention, so that's perfect. So I just spend my time reading. What do I think so far? I didn't like the first book, as I've mentioned multiple times. I think I gave it a 2.5 or 3 star. This one, however, is a little bit better, but that's because I watched the Netflix series. So in my head, I'm already envisioning all the characters that we met in that series, so it's a lot easier to relate to the book. And I now realize why I didn't like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's in third person. It's like a narrator's telling the story and then there's dialogue in between, and that always throws me out of a story. I didn't realize that before, but I was like, yesterday I was like, why am I reading so slowly? I don't get it. Then I was like, that's why. So it kind of is like a mixture of Pip's thoughts and then also narration or third person, which I don't particularly like, but once I got the hang of the writing style, I think it went a bit quicker. I'm currently on chapter 21, page 208, and it's got 412 pages. I'm hoping to finish this today. I have a few admin-y things to do, like editing, and I just did a makeup video, so I'll need to edit that. But other than that, I just want to read. It is a miserable day outside, so I'm thinking that after I've done my editing for a couple hours, I'll just settle down and read. I am enjoying it a little bit more. In the second one now, someone close to her has, or one of her friend's brothers, put it that way, has now gone missing. She doesn't want to take on the case, but no one's helping, so she's delved headfirst into this, again running into silly things, but at least she's including people in her investigation, not Xing them out like she did in the first book. Her and Ravi are now teaming up again to solve this crime, but it seems like there's a bunch of hidden secrets in the community where she lives in again. She does also have a podcast where she told the whole story about Andy Bell and Sal, and now she is incorporating this new case into her podcast. She gets a lot of hate, so I think that is a segue into the third book, because I know the third book is about her kind of getting stalked and stuff. And they also just mentioned how she came up with the name A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So it's trotting along. I like the mixed media in here, as I always do. There's text, there's diagrams, there's her notes. So I think that makes it very interesting and breaks it up. The font is also nice and big, much bigger than it was in the first book. I think the first book was about 500 pages and I thought it dragged along. Just like the reappearance of Rachel Price. I feel like Holly Jackson just adds that for filler chapters just to draw it out and create tension, but it just causes irritation in my mind. But so far, so good. I'm enjoying it. It's feeling like a 4-star. I don't think it would be higher than that, if not like a 3.75, but we'll see where it goes. But for now, I'm still enjoying my time, and I will report back when I'm done the book, just to not make this like a 30-minute long video, which I always say, but I've already been talking for 4 minutes. So anyway. Morning everyone. I finished the book. So I finished it yesterday. It took me 2 days to read. Honestly, these videos confuse me because sometimes I pick a book and it takes me 2 days to read, which is really fast, or it will take me an entire week to read. So I'm not sure what's going on with my reading taste, but it does help that there's not much on YouTube or Netflix that I'm really interested in reading. So I've just been watching. So I've just been focusing on my reading. I also almost finished a book on my Kindle as well. That's not part of any vlogs. I've just been like consuming, which is really good. I can't remember exactly what I said about this book. I wish I'd gone back and watched the footage. I only updated you guys yesterday and I was halfway and I read the rest of the book yesterday. I'm pretty sure I told you what the basis of the book was on. I feel like this was a lot more fast-paced than the first book was. I think because it was introducing characters and scenery and all of that, whereas this just got straight to the point and it moved a lot faster. I don't remember being bored once in this book and I flew through it, which is usually a really good indication for me. For rating, I am going to give this a 4-star. I was really happy with it. I was thinking maybe to push it up to a 4.5 star, but again, this is just a little bit juvenile for me and I don't think I could rate it higher than that, but it was very exciting. I loved it and I couldn't wait to finish and see what happened. I did also watch a little bit of a spoiler video because I think I was on the last like 60 pages and I couldn't grasp where it was going, and that just helps me sometimes push me forward. And yeah, I just thought the adventure that went on, the case that they did, I'm really happy I read this. I am very nervous about what we're going to get next, but I'm so stoked that that went really fast, really smoothly, and I really enjoyed it. Let's give this a shake again. If there's anything I'm actually hoping for, I'm hoping to change the genre up a little bit. I don't want to get another thriller or mystery thriller because I'm reading one by Lucinda Berry right now. But I'm hoping for Bride by Ali Hazelwood, or maybe The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Mayer, and the book is called Cinder, but that's what I'm hoping for. Those got tangled and I felt like I was cheating because I slightly looked up. Okay, got one. Sorry, I just had to stop, but I'm not sure if it showed on camera, but we got Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I've been nervous about reading this book, and I also didn't know where to put it in a vlog, just because I don't quite know what it is really about. I know it's fantasy, but also a little bit of dark academia mixed in. So I'm excited about this, but apparently there's also some type of mystery in here. So kind of on brand with where we're going now. I really love this cover. I'm actually not going to read the back. I'm just going to go in blind and see what we think. This is how many pages is this book? It looks quite big. 450. Hopefully we can do that in 2 days, but I will let you guys know when I start this book. I'm really excited. I've had it on my shelf for a few months now. So yeah, it is a cult favorite, so I'm really intrigued to see what it's about. It's also my first experience with Leigh Bardugo, and I'm interested to see if I like her writing. That's it from me. I will speak to you guys later. As you can see, I'm still in bed and I did my little morning read. So I read for like an hour usually every morning before I get going. But this morning I only did half an hour because I was putting this off. I am now 42 pages in, and usually I wouldn't check in now, but I'm struggling to get into this book. It just feels way too academic. So I feel like this is my first like dark academia book. So I wasn't prepared for what it was going to give. So it just feels really academic. There's words I can't pronounce. There is a bunch of history I don't really care about. And I was watching a video yesterday and it said that it is very descriptive. So I've resorted to kind of skimming the beginning. So just getting the gist of the details so we can move into the real story. But it is painstaking at this time, or at the moment, shall I say. So it's supposed to be fantasy, but it's still in our world, but with magic. And then there's also like a murder mystery element. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what I'm in for, but so far I can say without a doubt I'm not enjoying it yet. Usually I'll give a book till 50 pages, but I'm gonna do one more chapter and then see how we feel, because I don't feel like I want to waste my time reading a book that I'm not enjoying. So I might soft DNF this and we can draw another book. For now, I'm just gonna try at least another chapters. The chapters are like between 12 and 20 pages as well, and there's a lot of writing. It is also like it's not in third person, but it's like being narrated. I prefer first person, honestly. I like knowing people's thoughts and all of that, and I feel like this is just an outsider telling a story, if that makes sense. But so far, not enjoying it. It's my first introduction to dark academia. It doesn't feel like fantasy at all. It's maybe like magical realism. I don't know. I'm not loving it, but I need to get ready. I'm going to go buy some supplies for my wedding invites because I am making them myself. So I'm just gonna go get ready for that. I want to go to the library today as well, I think, and then maybe have a little walk or something. For now, I'm just gonna give that a rest until later on, and then I will get back to you guys when I have a little bit more insight on what's going on. But so far it's been so difficult to grasp me. It's just not there. Good morning, everyone. So I don't have my lights on because it's nice and sunny outside, so I thought natural light would work, but the one side of my face looks a bit darker. I do have my TV on. But anyway, I unfortunately have some bad news. I finally got about halfway, almost halfway. I think I have like 25 pages off halfway into ninth house, and I've decided I'm going to soft DNF it. I'm just not feeling it. I'm trying so hard just to understand and grasp what the story and plot line is, but it feels more like a historical fiction fantasy, and maybe that's what dark academia is, but it's not to my taste personally. I'm bored. I'm so bored. So I've decided I'm going to softy an effort. I will pick it up at a later stage, maybe during the month of September, but right now I'm just not feeling it, and I'm afraid it's going to put me into a book slump. Like, especially after I read, I almost fell off my chair, Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. I really liked that. It was so much more fast paced, and this is just going at a snail's pace. There's too much history, there's too much academic. So for me, no. It's been halfway now. I think I would give it a 2-star if I had finished it. So not one of my best choices, but I'm going to go ahead and put it back on my reading shelf, or currently reading TBR type shelf, which is this over here. I do also have some new books, which I'll show you in a second. Let's go ahead and give this a shake and then pick a new book. So I'm just going to pick a new one. Hopefully it's something good. What do we have? Let me show you first. Hopefully it's not upside. I wasn't sure if I wanted to start this book, to be honest with you, but it's This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Murphy. I've been looking forward to reading it, don't get me wrong, but I haven't yet finished the Shatter Me series. I heard that it's like based on like Persian mythology. This is it. Ta-da! Very excited for this. I'm not gonna lie, I've been looking at it, and I've also been looking at the sequels at the bookshop, but I didn't want to buy it in case I don't like the first book. So all I know is that that there's a slave. This is just what I've heard from other people. So there's a slave girl who is actually the heir to the throne, and she finds this out and then fights her way to the throne. But in the midst of doing all of that, herself and the current king or prince fall in love. So yeah, it sounds interesting enough. I've never read anything about Persian mythology. It says here Stephanie Garber has a blurb on it, and I love Stephanie Garber. So yeah, that will be our next book. Very excited. She's chunky, but I like Tahara Murphy's writing. Basically 500 pages. It's 494. So hopefully that can keep my attention. It's a nice day, like I said. I'm gonna go for a cycle later, so I'm gonna finish editing and then I'm gonna plop myself in the sun and start reading this, because your girl needs some sun. The little book haul that I wanted to show you, there is 2 books here as well. So I did go and get the last book in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and this is As Good as Dead. So this is the very last book. There is also a novella, which I'm not really interested in reading. So after reading Good Girl, Bad Blood, I really wanted to complete the series, so I got As Good as Dead. Then and that same day I also got Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I do want to finish ACOTAR first before I start on this, but I already had the Assassin's Blade, so I thought I'd just pick this up, and it was on offer, so I just had to. And then my partner, or my fiance, he sent me a little package over on the weekend, or on Friday I think it was, and I requested 2 books from my shelf there. Speaking of Shatter Me, so I got the novella. I've read the first novella, which is Destroy Me, which is between Shatter Me and Unravel Me. So I read that, which was only like half the book, and then the next novella is after Unravel Me and before Ignite Me. So I have to still read this, and the second novella in this book is called Fracture Me. So it is both in one, so it's not 2 small books. So I got that. I'll read that probably in a video where I'm trying to finish series. And then I went to the library yesterday and I picked up 3 books. I went 5 minutes before closing, which was dumb. So they were already like turning the lights, but he allowed me in just to have a little peruse. So we have a side where there is like more newer releases, but it's not like new. But our libraries are, I don't mean to be rude, but shit. It's a lot of like old books that people no longer want on their shelves and then donate. So it's a lot of like books from the 1930s or whatever. Like they still have all the Sweet Valley Highs and all Cassandra Clare. Like it's very old books. So this is the newest books I found. So I picked up 3, and the first one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really loved The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Very Random by Colleen Hoover Confess, and I haven't read this one by her yet. I don't even know what it's about. I am going to hopefully read this in a vlog reading library books. And then lastly I got 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, which is great because I have a prompt in my book journal that says reading books by a Black author. I'm excited for this, but I've also never read it. I've just heard really good things. But that is Hi everyone. So the last time I checked in with you guys was Sunday. Today's Wednesday, so it's taken me a while and I'm almost 50% into the book. I'm on page 222, but I thought I'd just pop in now because I was going to wait until I was exactly halfway. I thought I'd just do it now. I don't know what to say. So the plot of the book, or the storyline of the book, is exactly what I told you about when I introduced the book on Sunday. It's about a servant girl named Eliza, and she is actually the heir to a throne, but I don't know if she doesn't know or if she's trying to survive at the moment because her parents died in a tragic accident. She comes from a species, or what do you call them, like an ethnicity called a jinn, and jinns are like mythical creatures born from like the devil or something like that. They're like supposed to be evil, and due to that they were punished, and the world was dark for like hundreds of years until clay people were formed, and they are now humans and they are like slaying all the jinns. But she comes from a line of royalty, and then she meets the crown prince, the current crown prince, and they have like a weird interaction. He hunts her and then realizes that she's just an innocent girl. His grandpa wants to kill her because she is threatening their line of royalty. That's kind of the storyline, but it's so boring. Like, I haven't had any motivation to pick it up, and this is not the experience I had with Tahira Mafi with Shatami so far. This sounds really rude and it sounds negative, but the writing is very pretentious. Like, she's using words that don't actually need to be used, where she can just use normal everyday words. I can't find anything right now because I'm trying to look really quickly, but I can't find anything right now. But it's kind of just very pretentious. I don't know what to say. That's all I can say. I'm rambling now because I'm just grasping at straws to say something. So far nothing has really happened. They've discovered each other. She is a servant. Yeah, that's all I can say. And some of the things, I say this quite often, and maybe it's just the choice of books that I'm choosing, but I don't like it when things are described too much. Like, I love the imagery, but we don't need to know every single leaf, bug, fly that's around you. I will update you guys when I have a little bit more to say, and then at the end again. But for now, that's my story. Good morning, everyone. I finally finished this Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi, and it took me approximately 4 days to read. It was very boring. I didn't expect to say that from a fantasy, but like in the first 280 pages, basically nothing happens, and we're still world building. We're still trying to figure out where the plot is going, and the bulk of like the interesting stuff probably happens in the last 100 pages. So I read 300 pages just to get 100 pages of action. I just found that it was overwritten. Like I was saying in my previous clip about the language being used, so unnecessary, which I think just increased the word count. But I tabbed a little section that I wanted to read to you, and maybe your opinion is different, but for me, I just don't see a point. Like, we're all reading for escapism, and especially a fantasy book, I don't think that it needs to be so overwritten. It's like she sat with a thesaurus and just looked up weird words. But anyway, it says, he felt as if his muscles were I can't even pronounce the word, atrophying. He felt as if his muscles were atrophying slowly in the suit of his skin. A silent litany of epithets perched in his mouth even when he smiled. Like, that sentence is even hard enough for me to read out loud. So like, I just ended up skimming stuff like that. I understand what she was trying to say, but it could have been said in a simpler way, and she didn't have to embellish it so much, in my opinion. I've already told you what the story is about, so I am not going to get into that again. I love to extend my videos by so much by over speaking and over explaining. So let's not do that and take our own advice. So for this Woven Kingdom, I've given this a 3.5 star. I am kind of excited to see what happens in the next book, which is These Infinite Threads, I think it's called. I will be reading the book. 3.5 isn't a terrible rating. I would recommend it to people, but it wasn't my favorite book I've ever read, nor is it the worst book I ever read. Glad I finally got to this. I probably wouldn't have gotten to it as soon if I hadn't done this video, but and that's being said, like, I'm glad I read it, but it wasn't my favorite. Then just a quick recap. The first book we started with was Good Girl Bad Blood, which we gave a 4-star to. Still happy I read this book. I went out to get the third book, so hopefully that will be in an upcoming video, but 4 stars. I really loved it, would 100% recommend. Then unfortunately we had to DNF a book, and this is Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, and unfortunately this again was just too boring for me, and I can't give it a rating because I didn't finish it. However, I want to do like a 24-hour readathon. I've been saying this for so long, but I really want to do one, and maybe in that I can finish this book because I have about 200 pages left in this, so maybe we'll do it in another video. It's just soft DNF, it's not a definitive DNF. I just couldn't get into it. That's the 3 books we read for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just said video too many times. Let me know if you've read these books and what you thought of them. Also, try and convince me to read Ninth House because right now I'm just not feeling it. That's it for me, guys. I will see you all in my next one. Bye.